Adam Bowler.
You're welcome to sit down, stand, whatever you like. Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Continenza. I'd like to welcome first our distinguished guests. With us today, we have the DCF CEO, Adam Bowler. We have the Assistant to the President and Director of the Office of Trade and Manufacturing and Policy, Dr. Peter Navarro. We also have with us today Deputy Secretary of Defense, David Norquist. And we also have Rear Admiral John Polacek. Thank you all for being here. And of course, we'd like to thank the President of the United States. We are honored to have everyone here today at Kodak, to be proud to be part of an initiative to help strengthen our country's pharmaceutical supply chain and create new jobs for America. This initiative is a big milestone in the President's effort under the Defense Production Act to deliver in response to COVID-19 pandemic and to help keep Americans safe. Kodak is an iconic American company and currently in the process of a total renovation and a remake. Over the last 100 years, Kodak has produced over 20,000 patents worldwide. Many of those are in advanced materials and chemistry. Kodak has been around for over 100 years in manufacturing of chemicals. I just want to point that out. This is not new for us. We are very proud to leverage our heritage and innovation along with our experience and our extensive use of Eastman Business Park, which is perhaps one of the greatest gems in America. The park offers utilities, rail, supply, energy, water, steam. It's very efficient, it's clean, it's chemical recovery. It's ideal for what we're about to do here and embark on. The new Kodak operations will create over 300 jobs in Rochester, including close to 1,200 indirect jobs in its build-out. We're also going to have approximately 30 to 60 jobs in Minneapolis. These two regions will greatly benefit from the new economy and the new venture for Kodak moving into the pharmaceutical business. I'd like to take a special time to thank some people that really worked hard to get us here. And I've learned something from Dr. Navarro. It's called Trump time. It's a whole new time. It's get something done and get it done now. And this administration clearly has moved quick. I also have to thank Governor Cuomo. He's always been extremely supportive of this park and has done an awful lot for Kodak over the years and continues to be very supportive. With that, I have a very special thank to Adam Bowler and his team, David Glockham, Elialen, and Dr. Peter Navarro. But in Dr. Peter Navarro's group, there's also a man named Chris Abbott. And Chris and Alal really helped Kodak work its way through the government, and they made this process almost seamless and easy for us to get to the point and get to what we needed to do. And I'd be remiss not to thank them because I don't think we'd be standing here today without them. So thank you very much. With that, I'd like to invite our special guest, CEO Adam Bowler.
So thanks, Jim. We arrived not too long ago, and you and your CTO gave us a phenomenal tour, and I know you've only been here now a little bit over a year and a half, and you've done a phenomenal job. And I think one thing that was very impressive was how much your team responded to you in a short period of time and how well you've done. So we're real happy to be here. This is an iconic company, and it embodies the American spirit of innovation. Today we're announcing a $765 million letter of interest that will transform this facility, the one that we just went on a tour on, into a powerhouse of American pharmaceutical production. This transformation is the perfect embodiment of the President's mandate to bring our pharmaceutical supply chains home. It's also a shining example of a public-private partnership that's meant to last. At full production, this facility will yield 25% of the active ingredients in generic pharmaceuticals in the United States. That's pretty impressive. Several months ago, the President had the foresight to use the Defense Production Act to enable my agency, the International Development Finance Corporation, to fund the kind of projects like this that will keep America secure in the midst of the kind of pandemic that we're facing right now. This particular partnership came about due to the partnership that we at DFC have formed with the Department of Defense and with the White House Office of Trade and Manufacturing Policy, led by Dr. Peter Navarro, Mr. Trump time. When Dr. Navarro brought back to us and to my team at DFC, we moved to vet this as quick as possible because we knew what it could mean for Rochester, for New York State, and for this country. This historic deal will create 300 immediate jobs in Rochester, additional jobs in Minnesota, and support thousands more across New York. I'm from upstate New York. That's where I was born. I've seen firsthand what New Yorkers can do when they put their minds to it. I know that this deal also means a lot to Governor Andrew Cuomo, and I'm happy to welcome his support and to partner with the state of New York. This issue and our focus on Kodak is not a partisan issue. It's an American issue, and I'm proud to support this vision for a stronger, safer America. I'm happy to introduce our Deputy Secretary of Defense, David Nordquist. David has a tough job. He has to make sure that the United States is safe abroad and here domestically. And Department of Defense has been an unbelievable partner for DFC. So please, Deputy Secretary.
Good afternoon. I am honored to be with you here today to recognize this milestone in American excellence. Our coronavirus response has included many tests, but of those, the one that stands out is the test of American innovation. This is a test we have consistently passed and surpassed, and I have been impressed by our nation's entrepreneurs who quickly adapted to this unprecedented environment and have created the things we need most. At the same time, throughout this pandemic, we have witnessed a new level of public-private partnership. Thanks to President Trump's decision to invoke the Defense Production Act, the Defense Department has awarded $770 million in Title III funding, and we have used this money to sustain and strengthen capabilities essential to our defense. Investment in medical resources such as surgical masks, gloves, and ventilators. For example, using the Defense Production Act and other authorities provided by Congress, the President ramped up American industry's production of N95 masks. At the start of the pandemic, industry produced only 40 million N95 masks per month. By August, they'll be producing 100 million per month, and before the end of the year, 160 million per month. This significant increase could only be accomplished through government and industry cooperation. In June, the Department of Defense partnered with DFC to initiate the new Defense Production Act loan program. DFC is executing this exciting new tool to expand domestic production. I am pleased to stand here beside Adam and Jim as DFC and Kodak provide a snapshot of the value and potential of this program. Kodak's proposal is a timely example of how we can enhance our resiliency. Today, the U.S. is almost 90% reliant on foreign sources for some active pharmaceutical ingredients and key starting materials. This includes materials sourced from our near-peer competitor, China. The coronavirus pandemic exposed this vulnerability, reinforcing our need to bring crucial medical manufacturing capability back to America. As a result, Kodak's request to produce, procure, and store these materials, among other measures, is the type of innovation we need to secure our economic and national security. On the government side of this partnership, DFC is uniquely positioned to respond to this crisis. Drawing upon its decades of federal credit experience and international efforts, DFC can address domestic challenges from a global perspective. This ability reveals how important it is that our whole government works together. We need to use all the tools we have. It is to that end the Department greatly appreciates DFC's expertise and support. Thank you both for your tireless help and effort to help our nation. I look forward to our continued cooperation as we secure our critical supply chains, strengthen our national security, and bring jobs back to the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Secretary. I'd also like to recognize one other individual from Department of Defense, Admiral John Polovchek. And Admiral Polovchek and I, in the plane over here, were talking about how we had just met each other 4 months ago, 4.5 months ago. And in that time, Admiral Polovchek's team, working on behalf of the Joint Chiefs of Staff at Department of Defense, has sourced billions of pieces of PPE. And it's easy to forget, and that 4 months ago seems like 10 years ago. But it's been a pleasure and honor working with the Admiral, and I thank you for everything done for the American people, Admiral. He deserves a round of applause, right? Next up, I want to introduce my partner in crime on this. And love Peter or dislike Peter. Peter's always going to tell it like it is. You got to love that about Dr. Navarro. And he's been an unbelievable partner in this initiative, bringing Kodak to the forefront here. He's always got what's best for the United States on his mind. I don't know that you think about anything else. So Dr. Navarro, if you could come forward.
How y'all doing? It's a heck of a facility you got here. I'm so pleased to be with you. Yesterday, I was at a heck of a facility. Went down with the president on Air Force One. We went to the Research Triangle Park to visit a facility which is going to help this nation potentially get a vaccine against the China virus, perhaps as early as the end of this year. That is Trump time, because these kinds of things historically have taken 2 to 3 times that amount of time. And what you need to understand about how we work at the White House and how this president thinks is he's a paradigm breaker. The usual way to make a vaccine, the old way, the long way, is you figure out what works first. That takes some lab time. And then once you got that, you go through this sequence where you go to phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 clinical trials to find out if it's safe and what they call efficacious, meaning does it work. And then only after that sequence do you think about manufacturing the vaccine, right? And the president looked at that and he said, no. We got to protect the American people. We have to make the American people feel safe. Let's do it this way. Let's go to a simultaneous development process so that we got 5 companies out there in what we call the horse race for the vaccine. They're moving in Trump time to try to get something that works and get through their clinical trials. But as we're doing that, we're also building the manufacturing capacity, which is why we were down in North Carolina yesterday, because we went to one of these manufacturers, so that by the end of this year, we can possibly have 300 million doses of vaccine for the American people. It's a beautiful thing. I'm not guaranteeing it, but I'm as close to saying that if it's possible, this president could get it done. And now today, I'm at another center of innovation with a much longer history than the Research Triangle Park, a distinguished history. And what we're trying to engineer here, I don't know if you, any literary aficionados here, but F. Scott Fitzgerald once said that there were no second acts in America. Well, this is going to be the second act, one of the greatest second acts in American industrial history. And thanks to this guy over here and David Glackham, who's sitting right there, we did this in Trump time. The way this works is the president, back in February when we saw we had a problem, he said, let's get our pharmaceutical supply chains home. Do it all different ways you can. So my team started scouting out possibilities, particularly to make what Jim called the key starting materials and the active pharmaceutical ingredients, which we've offshored to the pollution havens and sweatshops and tax havens of this world. Let's get them back. How do we do that? So up popped on the board one day Kodak across 2 stages of the 3-stage production. I go, wow, Kodak, iconic company. Let's give them a call. And the rest, trust me on this, the rest is going to be the most amazing history for Rochester, New York, the state of New York, and this country. Because what this guy's going to do with his vision is take the money that this guy's going to give them, and within a relatively short time, we're going to be able to make in this country up to 25% of the active pharmaceutical ingredients that are needed for your generic drugs, which is 90% of the medicines that you take. And that is Trump time, and that is a miracle. So I am just delighted to be here. I have some ties, as Adam does, to this state. My grandparents lived here in Sodus. My stepson went to Rensselaer on the other side of the state, and both Adam and I know the hard times that this state has fallen on with respect to the loss of its industrial base to China and the rest of the world. So today, with the help of the Defense Department, people like Admiral P. and these guys, this is going to be a great day. So I hope you celebrate this with the people of Rochester today, because tomorrow is going to be a better day because of this. Thank you.
So now I'm going to ask Howard Zemsky to come up to introduce Governor Cuomo's video. And one thing I'll note in the context of coronavirus is we hear about the negatives all the time, but I think one of the positives of a crisis is it does tend to bring people together. And I've been on many a call with the governor and with the president of the United States that I think would surprise a lot of people because the president and the governors across our country have collaborated significantly over these last several months. So that's been a pleasure to see, and I welcome Howard and the governor's comments.
Thank you, Adam. It's great to be with all of you. I have had the privilege of working with Governor Cuomo for 10 years on all things economic development, and it was great to be on the tour and great to be with all of you today. Jim, I want to thank you. Your amazing commitment here in Rochester. New York and Kodak have had a partnership for over 130 years. We thank you for your continued commitment to Rochester, your confidence in the amazing workforce that we have here. And I want to thank you for stepping up after COVID. Actually, I don't know how many people know this, but Kodak was so nimble and so supportive, they actually produced a lot of the New York State hand sanitizer when we were looking for quick solutions and products were in short supply. So Kodak's been a partner with New York for over 130 years, continues to be an amazing partner, again, exemplified today by your commitment to Rochester.
I have a great team.
And you have a great team. Thank you. And it's great to be up here with, and to have met so many of them. So thank you for that. I want to thank the many federal officials that are here, I have had the opportunity, all the folks from DFC, Adam and David and Rachel and others, and all the other distinguished federal officials that have joined today. We had great conversation on the bus and on the tour, and I just want to say we look forward to continuing those conversations in the days and weeks ahead. Governor Cuomo has been an unwavering supporter of Eastman Business Park here in Rochester from really day one in office, and I worked with him from practically day one in office. There's been over $150 million of New York State investment in the infrastructure in this park and in different businesses in this park. And you may or may not be aware that there were over 70 new businesses to Eastman Business Park during that time as well, which is so important. So many businesses that are really embracing the future as Kodak is also, as it reimagines its future. He has always imagined and frankly always insisted on a better future for Eastman Business Park, for Kodak, for Rochester, and for all of upstate New York. So again, it's a pleasure and privilege working with him. Great to be with all of you, and I have the privilege of introducing, through recorded message, Governor Andrew Cuomo, and thank you.
Good afternoon, all. Today is an exciting day for Kodak, New York State, and for America. Kodak has a long, storied history in New York State, and we've been working with them to develop an even brighter future. Chairman Jim Continenza's vision is to restore Kodak's role as an American innovator and a formidable force in the chemical industry. The $765 million announcement today will be used to do just that. It will create 300 new jobs and over $430 million in capital funds to build new and modernize current facilities at Eastman Business Park. All of these efforts for the manufacturing of critical drug components. The Eastman Business Park is an amazing 1,200-acre economic platform. We've already invested over $160 million in the park and many years of hard work. Today's announcement can help revitalize the entire park, as well as create spin-off enterprises and more jobs. It's very exciting, and New York State will continue to be a full partner in this venture. But today's announcement does even more. Today's announcement also addresses a critical need for this country. We have learned many lessons through this painful COVID pandemic crisis. But one of the most pressing lessons is how much America needs to do to be better prepared for future public health emergencies. In this COVID crisis, we didn't have the basic medical essentials we needed: the masks, the gowns, the gloves, the testing reagents, the equipment, and the medicines. Basic supply chain issues exploded, and all too often we heard that these materials were made in China or made in India. America could not provide for our own needs. That just can't happen again. It's not just a public health issue, it is a basic national security issue. We need the leadership and resources of the federal government to make sure that we can manufacture these essential supplies right here at home in the United States of America. The federal government should be doing just what they are doing today, using the Defense Production Act to increase America's manufacturing capacity, to create new jobs, and to keep America safe. With this investment, Kodak will make necessary ingredients so our country can make our own medications. That's so smart. We can now do the same for all public health needs, and New York stands ready to partner in those efforts. In New York, we've already identified companies that can make masks and gowns and all PPE, and we're eager to follow this model. It's a very positive step in the right direction, and we should keep going. Today's can-do spirit is what got our country through World War II, when Kodak manufactured aircraft equipment and ammunition. It's the spirit that got us through these last difficult 150 days, and that is the spirit that's going to keep us moving forward. I want to thank President Trump, the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation CEO Adam Boehler. I want to thank Admiral John Polovchek, by the way, all native New Yorkers, I also want to thank Director Peter Navarro, Deputy Secretary David Norquist, Kodak Chairman Jim Continenza, and New York State's own Empire State Development Corporation, Howard Zemsky. Great day. Let's create jobs. Let's keep America safe. Let's do it together. Thank you.
We'll open up for press.
Are we going to sign?
We're going to sign, that's right.
If you don't want the money, that's okay.
Just mail it to me. I'm about to put myself $765 million in debt. No. There we go. Can't thank you enough. I cannot thank you all enough, seriously, for Kodak, for the people of New York, and for all the employees, Terry Tabor, Nagraj, others that worked on this. What you're doing for this country, by the way, this is all bigger than all of us. This is that important to us. We are all U.S. citizens, we're all patriots, and what you all are doing and the services you give, we can't thank you enough, because we want this country to be safe. We know this war on drugs is real. This is not a joke. And we need to bring this back. What you all have done, I can't thank you guys enough for the American people and people of Kodak. And I'm going to explain Trump time if you don't know it. We were given 5 days to do 30 days worth of work. And that's not a joke.
Got it in 4.
Got it in 4. But I want you to know what you guys are doing for the United States and the people of the United States, not just this, but everything else. We all want to personally thank you. So thank you. Thank you. Oh, you guys are great.
This concludes the ceremony. We are now going to transition to taking some questions from members of the press. There are microphones that are situated, so you please come up and ask your question. You guys take your seats. You can sit down as we direct your questions. There's what for you. He has one under his chair as well, everyone, and the other 2 are mic'd up, so everyone has a mic. Yeah? Okay, yes. Could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Bert Green from News 10 in D.C. In the past 20 years, people who live in this community have been promised a number of big projects that ultimately didn't happen, were exaggerated, and the rug was sort of pulled out from under them. So what can you say to the members of our community that will convince them that this is actually going to happen and you're going to hire 300 people?
Let me give you some of, is this on?
It is on.
So let me give you just some of the examples of what we've done so far using the Defense Production Act. When General Motors was a little reluctant to do what we needed in the ventilator game, the President signed the Defense Production Act, and in 17 days, GM was able to stand up a factory with a small company, a partner named Ventec. 17 days in Kokomo, Indiana, they were able to start producing ventilators, and we had those ventilators in hospitals in Gary and Chicago within 3 more days. We were able, working with Honeywell, when we got a call at the White House, they wanted to get a couple of N95 respirator factories going. They needed our help. We got them going, and those factories were done in 5 weeks. That usually takes 9 months, and they're producing millions of masks a month now. Puritan up in Maine, we needed to double our swab production, so the Defense Department, where's Secretary, the Defense Department was able to work with Title III and Admiral Polovchek to get them a contract. We went up there. We also repurposed the Bath Iron Works, which usually makes submarines, to make some specialized equipment, and they're already producing this stuff. We're not messing around here. What they signed is a deal that's going to make this facility the envy of the world in terms of API and key starting materials. The Trump administration does not disappoint when it comes to creating jobs.
Can I add to that for Kodak, because that's what you're referring to?
Yep.
Number one, I don't justify the actions or criticize others, but everyone that you see here was not involved in those decisions. They are today, including Governor Cuomo. Not only is it, hey, get an appointment with Peter, get an appointment with Governor Cuomo. I have Governor Cuomo's cell phone, I have Peter's cell phone. This is how they work. This is real time. This isn't take your time, have a meeting 3 months from now. I spoke with Governor Cuomo for over an hour and a half yesterday. And let me tell you, he's on board. Howard, you can attest to that. They want to help us. We need their help. We're all working together. And there's nobody on the stage, I guarantee, made those promises, but we will fulfill them.
Next question. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you all for joining. You're coming.